It's been a while, and yes, we're still alive, just about. I'll explain all of it later in the video. We are back on the road, undertaking a huge road trip going north to south through Norway. This has been a secret for a while, but this will be the last road trip for our trusty old camper van, truck Norris. This van was our gateway into this way of life. An endless row of great memories will come to an end. How will this affect the experience? Will there be any highlights to write home about?
What do you say?
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. This is the final farewell. We're kicking things off in the Narvik region, an area best known for its strategic importance during World War II. Narvik saw some massive battles because of its access to iron ore, a highly demanded resource for enabling forging of crucial war material. The rocks and minerals got transported from Sweden by train, and the harbor of Narvik enabled further distribution abroad. We spent the first night close to a concrete bunker and other relics from this time period, with a comforting van life dinner and a great view of the fjord. And speaking of rocks, we came here on the lookout for a mountain to climb, and we spotted a bare rock face sleeping below the clouds. A scenic detour later, we found our van parked by the trailhead, and we set out to gain some elevation. Unfortunately, the cloud base kept sinking, and eventually we found ourselves engulfed in its humid surroundings. The lack of visibility made us head back to the van. Luckily, we came across a surprise as we descended.
We found some treasures on the hike. We of course had to bring them.
We found a lot of berries, which we didn't really account for. And now we just add some sugar and stir, and then we have perfectly local homemade jam.
Simon's favorite, my favorite.
Just a smell, instant summer memories.
Oh, that good.
On point. It's so damn delicious. Bye.
Hey, get back here.
Well, at least some of the jam was left untouched, and that came in handy, as we came up with a fun idea for breakfast the following day. We packed our belongings and got going further south. As the day ended, the clouds still formed a humid carpet above us. But someplace in the far distance we saw signs of the decaying midnight sun. After another proper van life dinner,
Pasta carbonara.
we went to bed hoping for clear blue skies for our breakfast hike. The wind certainly tried its best to push the clouds away, but mostly it functioned as a cold way of waking us up.
Today we are having our morning coffee and maybe some breakfast, we'll see.
We made some pancake batter that we brought in a bottle and our portable kitchen solution, so we'll see if we can make it work or if the wind will just blow out the flame. Nice try.
Cut.
We also brought some of the blueberry jam we recently made, which is the perfect topping.
With our bellies full, these happy campers fired up the van and got going towards somewhere new, excited to visit what for us was uncharted territory. After several hours of driving and a few ferry rides later, we arrived at the jagged shore of Vesterålen. Life here is no joke, with the wind and the force of the Norwegian Ocean constantly slamming at the rough but majestic nature of Vesterålen. This keeps its inhabitants clinging onto the few days of the year when the sun never sets, which also allows the scenery to shine in all of its glory. We could hardly believe our eyes when the weather completely changed as evening approached, and you bet we set out to seize the moment. After years of traveling through Norway, this drive still remains one of the most memorable ones. It was the perfect blend of spectacular, narrow road with no other vehicles, spellbinding surroundings, and what felt like a warm, eternal hue created by the midnight sun.
Today we decided to hike a famous trail in Stø, which is called Dronningruta, also known as the Queen's Path. And it's a loop, you can do it any way you like, but we are starting off at the beach, and so far we don't regret it. Before we came here, we started off the day in a charming little fishing village called Nyksund. You should take a look at it before we continue this hike.
At the end of a narrow gravel road, A charming fisherman's village greets its visitors with the salty smell of the sea and the infamous sound of seagulls. These birds easily outnumbers the amount of inhabitants in Nyksund, as this village is the full-time home to only 15 people. Everywhere you go in this miniature town, you see relics of the flourishing fishing activity that made this place the second largest fishing village at the start of the 20th century. As the industry evolved and the fishing vessels got larger, the small harbor couldn't keep up with the big boats and eventually led to the village being more or less abandoned in the mid-70s. Luckily, this treasure didn't perish, and now travelers from near and far feel a magnetic attraction to this historical site. Nyksund can offer its visitors several forms of accommodation, sea safaris, fishing trips, and some incredible mountain treks. We were most eager to experience the mountains, so let's head back to the Queen's Path that would meet our expectations and then some.
You filmed it, didn't you?
This is
Not supposed to happen.
crazy. I've been hunting for these mushrooms the entire season and we haven't found them anywhere.
They are supposed to grow underneath pine forest on like a bare forest floor. And here on the mountain, next to no vegetation, windy, found them.
Look at these babies. You're gonna be on my pizza. I'm gonna make pasta, risotto. And that marks the end of the trail. We've been out for 6 hours, a little longer than we anticipated, but it was a really beautiful hike, a lot of spectacular viewpoints.
Look at the beautiful sunset we have. The colors are in full bloom.
And now we are tired in a good way and really ready to hit the bed.
We couldn't have timed the hike any better, as the following day got overtaken by the more typical weather of this region. This day was mostly spent driving closer to the Lofoten Peninsula. For the first time ever, we brought a pizza oven in the van. And what better way to introduce this tool than to make homemade pizza based on what we found on the mountain, the porcini mushrooms.
So the pizza oven is fired up and is ready for the pizza. The mushroom is fried in butter, of course, and soy sauce for extra umami. Okay, enjoy!
It's bright and early and the sun is shining on the Lofoten Islands, and we are heading out to a trail, and at the top where we haven't been before, but the view from the top will be familiar for some of you if you've been watching this channel and some of the other videos from Lofoten, and we couldn't ask for a better day.
It's far from normal to experience Lofoten on days like these, when the temperature rises to 30 degrees Celsius. Imagine how refreshing this swim felt after having started the day on a steep mountain. Honestly, it's such a reward being able to spend time doing the things we want, enabled by the good old van.
We drove to Svolvær and filled up the water and gas and everything we need. And then we drove to Henningsvær and met up with some friends.
We had to take a break from the sun, and I'm even a bit burnt. So it was nice hanging out with some friends. And now we're gonna shake out the legs before we find out what to do tomorrow, because we plan like one day in advance, not even that.
The temperature is much better now, and the breeze is helping too. Feels kind of surrealistic saying that in Lofoten, but it was actually way too hot earlier.
What a view! And what a explosion of light behind the peaks.
Wow, beautiful.
I didn't have high hopes for this peak based on the images we saw before we went and also the weather we had, but even though it was raining when we got up here, suddenly the sky just ignited, and as you probably see from the clips, it's just insane. And this is what you often get in Lofoten. The forecast can say something and then it turns out to be days like this. Yeah, I'm speechless. It's so pretty. We're having a hard time turning around to go back to the car, but it's getting late, so it's the right thing to do.
After a tremendous night of sleep in beautiful surroundings, we got ready for a new day of exploring in Lofoten. We stocked up on some delicious coffee before driving towards the harbor, where the next mode of transportation awaited. boat was headed to a remote settlement, the ideal place to be on a day like this. Although a third of our pack thought this would be an effortless day, this was not actually the case. As we said goodbye to the boat, we knew we had to rely on the contents of our backpacks for an enjoyable night out here on our own.
Just finished setting up the tent, and even before we were done, Zulu was already on her way to sleep in the tent.
She seems to have really good associations with the tent. But she doesn't know that we are hiking that mountain before she can fall asleep. Must be tough to be a husky.
Even though it was tempting to simply hang out by the campsite for the remainder of the evening, we knew that the conditions were optimal for ascending the mountain overlooking the beach. Sunlight beautifully illuminated the terrain as we gained elevation, contributing to our rising anticipation on what we were about to witness at the top.
This is what I call a fresh evening. Top of a mountain.
This little excursion was a brilliant way to end our stay in Lofoten this time, and later that same day we crossed Vestfjorden on our way back to mainland Norway.
We are pretty dead. The ferry is docking in Bodø. It is past midnight and we need to find a place to camp.
The following day, bad luck eventually caught up with us, as we experienced some inevitable challenges with the van.
And that's the current situation. It started off as a perfectly calm, nice morning. We had a really good night's sleep, had some good coffee, and then we noticed that the fridge was out of power. So we tried to locate it this morning. That's why the car is looking like a complete mess. We still haven't figured it out, so we're gonna try and buy some new parts, a new control panel. Hopefully it will work. If not, then we're out of fridge for the rest of the vacation.
It looks like somebody threw a hand grenade in here.
We are all wired up here. It's still looking like a complete mess, but we got some work done. Okay, are you ready to test it? The ultimate test is if the fridge...
If this wakes up, it was worth all the effort.
Okay,
light is on.
Light is on. We got that working previously, so that's...
It's alive!
Yes!
Ooh.
Pizza and wine.
pizza and wine.
6 hours later.
Luckily, the cleanup process was super easy. Much better. Because of errands and the work put in to fix the problems in the van, we didn't really cover any ground. As a little treat, we decided to make good use of the pizza oven that's traveling with us on this journey. And how about this backdrop for some low-key pizza making in the evening?
The day didn't turn out too bad after all, huh?
I feel like this is well deserved. Can you keep up?
Nope.
Waking up to a morning swim like this is always a win, and it certainly lifted the adventurous spirit as we looked forward to the next leg of the trip, which would take us up high. As hydro plants were built out in Norway, service roads were needed for equipment and personnel, and many of these are well maintained and open for the public, although you take on a responsibility on your own if you choose to take this paved path up the mountain. I think all of us have grown used to more effortless driving through reliable and strong engines, automatic transmissions, and air-conditioned cabins. I know one thing for a fact: powerful engines was not the norm for these vehicles back in the 80s, but our somewhat underpowered van took us up these relatively steep hills without any issues. Once more, we couldn't help but admire the freedom and possibilities this way of life gives us. And we got carried away thinking back to when truck Norris realized our long-time dream of owning a classic camper van. All the struggles of getting him back in shape is easily overshadowed by all the memories he has helped us create. After all, we pretty much explored all of Norway and a fair bit of the European continent hand in hand. Back in Norway, we got the chance to swing by Svartisen, the second biggest glacier in the country, as well as the lowest laying glacier in all of Europe. Our next destination was about 1,000 kilometers away, and we tried covering as much ground as we could, helped by a few quick ferry crossings every now and then. Luckily, traveling with a dog forces you to stop at certain intervals. This allows swinging by places you'd usually skip, such as this next gem we stumbled upon.
So we are in the process of making some way down south again, but we needed to break it up a little bit because we get crazy of all driving.
Yet another day of driving. like yesterday.
So both for ours and Zulu's sake, we're out in the forest now on a hunt for a waterfall. And
maybe some mushrooms.
Look what we brought.
Always prepared.
A mushroom knife and a little broom. So we'll see what we find. I know we're gonna find a waterfall.
It looks pretty decent.
Oh, and spoiler alert. Our hoarding instinct made us spend a bit more time outdoors than we originally planned.
Almost filled our entire bag already.
This waterfall was bursting with water, and we were about to find out why. While being up north, we'd been totally isolated from the ongoing destructions by the extreme weather in the southern regions. It led to landslides, floods, and major damage to infrastructure and property. As we covered more ground towards our next destination, we encountered ripped apart roads, bridges that had failed, and numerous examples of natural and material devastations. By some unbelievable luck, the weather gods decided to do a 180 and provided us with some great conditions for exploration the next few days. First, we got the gloomy and moody ambience that suits the western part of Norway really well. We ended up at a secluded mountain cabin, used by farmers back in the days to keep in touch with and protect their livestock. The next day was even better, and we woke up to a view we won't forget. As the temperature rose, the perfectly blue water of the lake got too tempting not to try, and we managed to squeeze in a morning swim, as well as some kayaking, before the highlight of the day got started.
The sun is shining in western Norway, and we are at the trailhead of a really beautiful hike. Planning to use our energy up a really steep mountainside, and can't wait to show you the view from the top. So, let's go. Nice.
Oh, don't you want to?
I'm gonna. Just need to take a look at the view first.
Where are we at?
820.
Starting to get some really decent view. But the trail, oh man, it's steep and really muddy. You see it's all wet here. You can imagine at a 25% angle, which most of the trail is. It's a pretty good chance to slip.
How are you liking the view?
Even better than I thought. Not a bad place to spend your birthday, huh?
Thank you.
Birthday
Pretty
boy.
nice. I think she's mostly obsessed about the cheese sandwich. Yeah.
Are you ready to start the sketchy hike back down?
I think that's gonna be more challenging than the climb up here. Because it's so slippery. It's been raining the last few days. And we have the husky.
I'm just
Bit of a
wondering
challenge.
who of us is gonna fall. Because it's
The
gonna
one
be
with
one.
the dog, probably. Okay, no
Okay.
time to waste.
Am I in an Indiana Jones movie or something?
The journey was coming to an end. Although there was one more place nearby, we simply had to pay a visit before parking up the van for good. This road was built almost 100 years before our van was produced. Mainly a gravel road, this route is based on handmade brick walls and even has old-school guardrails made by vertical stones. Kind of funny actually, knowing that this road served more horses with carts rather than vehicles when it was constructed.
We need to cut out the part of the boring 7-hour drive home. We decided to take a much more scenic route, and it's going to take much more than 7 hours as well. Look at this place. No wonder it takes us forever getting anywhere when you stumble upon places like this. So pretty. What do you say?
Yeah, it's a really nice place. I'm just weak in my shoulders, I think.
This is
Look
my
at
way down from the roof.
We had to do some gymnastics here to grab some shots. It just looked too good.
Well.
Damn it.
We didn't get that far.
This is a nasty one. Should take a look underneath.
So it looks like we're maybe able to fix this, but we are missing a screw.
Go look for it.
So I have a mission now. Find a tiny screw somewhere
Along
along.
the road here. If we get lucky, if not, we'll try with 5 out of 6.
Okay. Oh, can it be? Little devil. What are the odds? You're coming with me. So we got the car jacked up. We need to release the wheel or make it able to spin so we can get the right rotation for the CV joint.
So the next thing is to try to fire him up and see if we have any forward movement, because it felt like having him in neutral when the CV joint was loose. And if we do, we might be able to get out of here, which I'm really keen on. Let's try. Nice. It works.
Ah, yes. The reward. Good job, baby.
Thank you. Let's go.
Looking back at all the adventures we've had in this van, we're so happy that we bought it, as well as spending time on making him our own. Now it's time to let someone else get the chance to enjoy the van, with all the possibilities it enables. We're already well on our way on another project, which will be shared on this channel soon. I can't wait to show you the next chapter. I think it will open even more doors for our travel plans.
Same procedure as last year?
To elaborate on the dramatic scene of the intro sequence, one of the rear wheels came flying off in a tunnel. We're okay, and nobody else got hurt either, but the van sustained some damage on the wheel arch. This was not the ending we were looking for, but all things considered, we're just glad no injuries were caused. Farewell, truck Norris. You'll always be in our hearts.